Hi, this is Alan Karl, and welcome to my YouTube channel. We're gonna go for a ride to Greece. Except we're gonna stay on the mainland, the Peloponnese, not on the islands. We're gonna go to Sparta and see the amazing Unesco World Heritage Site and Byzantine ruins of Mystras. Come on, let's go for a ride. Yes, Greece. You know, it's kind of cool to be riding far away from the tourists and the craziness of the islands and exploring an unknown area, the Peloponnese. That's right, this is the easternmost finger of the Peloponnese, three peninsulas that jut out into the Mediterranean. I'm headed to Sparta, or Sparti, the ancient city famous for influencing philosophers and writers, and where they focused entirely on their society, on the strength of their military. You know, when they say this is very Spartan, you know, that thought of something kind of minimalist or Spartan. Well, yeah, Spartiates, that's what they did. They fought in the Peloponnese War, were pretty victorious until the Ottomans took over the area. So the ancient city of Sparta is not much around anymore. But there is an old Byzantine ruin right here outside of town called Mystras, built in the 13th century by the Byzantines. So I'm going to get myself a room, cold beer, because it's really hot today, and find a good Greek meal. Maybe just park under this tree for a minute, find a hotel, and then a secure place to park, and get that cold beer. Tomorrow, to Mystras. Well, greetings from Mystras, Greece, here on the hillsides outside of both the ancient and the modern city of Sparta. Getting a lot of exercise this morning. It's not even 10 o'clock, and it's baking. The heat is hot. It's humid, and the cicadas are just creating a song to keep the energy flowing. But the little town of Mystras is a Byzantine fortress. Well, at least there is a Byzantine fortress here, and it overlooks the valley to the mountains to the east. And the Byzantines like to build their cities in three levels. The fortress would be up on the top. Second and third levels were where the residents lived. It's been quite a trek up and down the old steps amongst the ruins of old residences and buildings here at Mystras. Just left the monastery. It's a working monastery where actually 6 nuns, sisters, still work to this day, live there. The church, we figure, when I say we, it's I'm collectively putting myself in a historian's mode, but I'm not really. But about 1262, around there, built by the Byzantines. Some of the other ruins here predate the Byzantines, but the Byzantines here occupied this area probably up until, I don't know, it was last occupied, not by Byzantines, but in the 50s, when finally most of the residents moved to modern-day Sparta. But you can see behind me, this hillside is studded with olive trees. There are vineyards. Olive oil is a huge thing here, but they don't only use olive oil for cooking. Olive oil is used for medicinal purposes. It's used for religious ceremonies, and olives and olive oil truly is king here in Mystras. I think, according to my Apple Watch, I've closed all my rings just hiking around this hillside, and the cicadas, I think you can hear them, are so loud. But just exploring a little the Peloponnese, an area I think less traveled by visitors to Greece. many who opt for the parties on the islands of Mykonos, Ios, and elsewhere, or those romantic islands of Santorini, Tinos, Paros, and onward. But the Peloponnese has the beaches, has the mountains, and, well, as we know, a lot of history in the Byzantines, and also a lot of olive oil and olives. Just left Pantanassa, I think that's the way you say it. Anyway, it is a working monastery. 6 nuns, sisters, live there. I met one of them. She invited me into her little domicile, and recognizing that I was a bit parched, lack of water carried on this hike. Didn't know it would be such a hike. I should have figured, but nonetheless, she offered me a nice cool drink and a little sweet, a little Greek sweet, kind of a chewy, powdery, sugared, tasty, sweet thing. That's what I guess it is. And I powered down that cold drink and that sweet thing, and now I'm back hiking up and down these stone steps that have been here for about 800 years, maybe more. I've just stumbled on the Parablitos, if I'm saying that right, Parablitos Monastery. And if you can see it behind me, this place is pretty spectacular. I mean, this is a steep hillside. I've been going up and down through these ruins. As I said, the Byzantine cities were usually in 3 levels. And I'm at the lowest level right now, just past a residential area of large mansions. The ruins are stone. They're in very good shape. But this monastery behind me is just stunning. You can see that the rock cliffs of these mountains here didn't stop them from building their shrines, their monasteries, their places of worship. And this is also in amazing shape. I believe this is also from around the 1300s, late 1200s, early 1300s. There are scattered ruins throughout the trails that wander through the hillside of this old Byzantine walled city. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There are some information, signs that give you some bit of history. I couldn't find a guide today, so I'm really on my own. But as you can see, I've transitioned from olive trees to pine trees here that are surrounding this particular location, this monastery, Pablitos. And wow, this is why it's important to get off the bike, cruise around, and check out the old sites. Sometimes they could be just piles of rocks, and you're left there wondering, well, what did I do this for? But here at Mystras, probably one of the most well-preserved sites I've seen in Greece, other than Meteora, way up in the north. So, anyway, come to the Peloponnese. Not only you get the beaches, but you get the history. You get this. And then, right? And then there's Sparta. I'm inside the monastery of Pablitos, or Pelablitos. I'm not exactly sure of the pronunciation. But as I was mentioning, this is one of the most well-preserved Byzantine sites that I've been to here in Greece. Well-preserved ruins of all, other than maybe up in Meteora in the northern part of Greece. But this monastery, and you can see around me, is just covered in frescoes that have got to be 500 to 700 to 800 years old, in pretty good shape. Like all monasteries and churches you'll find in Greece, they are lined with more saints than I've probably seen since I've been to Ethiopia. Yep, the Greek Orthodox Church love their saints. Byzantine cities all followed a pretty standard protocol, and that was one of fortification walls. Yeah, we know. We talk a lot about walls these days. These walls were reinforced along the way with towers, like the one, the remnants of one behind me. But as I walk down the hill of the Byzantine city near Mystras, you can see the wall that was built here to fortify this city. And like all good medieval fortified cities, the idea was to keep your enemies out. And they did pretty good here in Mystras, until at some point they had to surrender to the Turks. But we'll get more into that later. I'm walking down from the castle, the main fortress, the lookout point for Mystras, and it's about a 15-minute walk up there over tepid stones and huge steps, seeing some elderly people struggle with large steps. Some people have built little paths around the steps, but the rocks are all rough and jagged and pointed. It's a bit of a treacherous walk up here, but you are rewarded with some stunning views when you do get to the top of this fortress, which is in really good shape. You can see the little lookout points where guards were stationed. I understand that the Byzantines would use lanterns with different numbers of lanterns and code to communicate to others in various towers of any oncoming threat or perceived threat. So anyway, well worth the hike. I can tell you the knees are a little bit, getting their test, that's for sure, especially on the way down. And then get on the road, and it'll be time to get to a Peloponnese Greek beach, I guess. Maybe another Byzantine ruin. Let's go.